So I'm very excited to say that I'm here with Virginia Hay, who a lot of our fans will know from Farscape, Mad Max 2. One thing I definitely want to talk to you about, you're on a TV series called Raw with Heath Ledger.
Oh, someone's done their homework.
I used to love the show.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I love the show.
I was only in it for Blink and You Miss Me. Yeah.
Did you get to work with Heath?
Yes, he played my son.
Yes, of course.
Which was hilarious because he wasn't really young enough to be... I wasn't old enough to be his mother. So we used to really laugh about that. I was too old to be, a love interest, but I wasn't quite old enough to be mum at the time. But still, doesn't matter.
How was it working with him?
Really nice. He's one of the most wonderful people you could ever meet. Very intense and funny and interesting, unusual, edgy kind of person. Yeah, I mean, it's no surprise that he threw himself into his character to the point of absorbing so much of it that it affected him fatally.
Yeah, it's such a shame, though. He was an amazing actor.
Oh, he really was.
Yeah, but,
definitely.
One
magic.
One character I know I have to talk about is Zan from Farscape. How was it playing her? How was the show? I mean, I'd love to hear about it.
Well, you kind of have to be more specific than that because it's so rich and complicated and there's so many avenues to it, and I played it for so many years, and it's really, but it was an extraordinary show. It actually, originally, how much time do we have, by the way?
As much time as you want.
Oh, right, okay, because I generally, my answers are pretty long normally. I don't know how to give a short answer, so lots for you to cut, I guess. The show was originally designed as a showreel for Brian Henson.
Okay.
And Jim Henson passed away, unfortunately, leaving a massive legacy. Jim Henson Company was huge for Sesame Street, Muppets, Miss Piggy, Jim Henson Company Creature Shop, and that's really where Brian Henson found his niche in the Jim Henson Company Creature Shop, really.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of paraphrasing, there's a lot more to him than just saying he found his niche in the Creature Shop, but kind of jumping forward, he wanted to show the world, I guess, that he was more than just the Muppets and Sesame Street. Not that you can belittle that in any way, because it's a huge franchise, amazing franchise, quite brilliant, and went on for decades and decades and decades. But he wanted to show a different side. He wanted to show that he was cool and edgy and could do, an amazingly artistic, modern, cool sci-fi show.
Which he did.
Which he did. Before that, I don't think they had done their own productions, movies. I think they'd done the Muppet movies of their own, but I don't think they'd ever ventured into something like Farscape before. I could be wrong, I don't know, forgive me if I'm wrong. Perhaps Dark Crystal. Was Dark Crystal one of theirs? Was it their production?
Oh, you're really testing my knowledge here.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure. But anyway, excuse me. So Farscape was, I guess, as I said before, it was like his resume. It was like his showreel, in a way. He just wanted to show that the Jim Henson Company could do amazing, edgy things in the late 90s, and that was fabulous costuming, incredible, mind-blowing animatronics. Fabulous special effects and script writing and casting, everything, production design. And so Farscape was born, and it was really, I've never heard of any producer creating a show as their showreel. I think it's, most people will put together little clips of things that they want to feature. Oh, we can do extraordinary special effects, so they make a special effects reel. We can do exquisite animatronics, so they make a little animatronics reel. But instead of doing that the traditional way, he wanted to do it in a more edgy, new way, which was to create a whole TV series as his resume, as an example of what the new Jim Henson Company could do. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So he created Farscape and had the very best of the best of the best of the best in the world of people behind it and designing every aspect of it. And people who worked on $100 million feature films came in as a favor to Brian. They were mates of his. And came in as a favor to design the costumes, to design the sets, to help write the scripts, and so forth and so on. So the whole thing was designed by feature film people, not TV people, and it really shows.
Yeah.
So it was very cool to work on.
I have to say, one of my favorite things about Farscape is, compared to other sci-fis, is it was so much more about the characters than about what was going on around them, which, you know, when you had big shows like Star Trek, it was less about that. It was more, we've got to go fight these aliens today. And obviously eventually we got to the point where they were a family, the characters were a family. And I would actually look forward to the bottle episodes, because you'd always find out so much more about them. I just have to wonder, like, who are the ones that you really enjoyed working with? I mean, did it feel like that on set, that you all got on well? Or?
Well, first of all, just commenting on what you were saying about character-based and rather than story-based. I think that's a clever thing that you noticed. It's something that is a trend in TV and film these days, and I'm not quite sure exactly when it started. I don't think Brian Henson invented it. Maybe he did, I don't know. But it's true that way back in the Star Trek days, most TV was story-based and not character-based. Films were character-based as well as story-based. So that film style moved over to TV eventually. And shows like NCIS and, you know, all of the police shows and investigative kind of shows. I mean, most of the shows these days are character-based as well as story-based, because people want to know about the characters. They want to know what makes them tick, who they are, how they relate to each other. Whereas in the past, TV wasn't about that. It was just about a good story.
It was, yeah.
And the fantastic thing about Farscape is what you said, that it was character-based, that you really learnt about the characters and who they were, what makes them tick, how they relate to each other, how they don't relate to each other, how they didn't relate to some things. I mean, if you think about it, Moya, this is going to be so boring for someone who doesn't know Farscape, but for the people who know Farscape, they're going to be going, yes, I understand, and that's brilliant. But Moya, if you think about it, not very many people remember this, but it was a prison ship. Everybody on it was a criminal, a murderer, a horrible...
And Zan obviously had a great backstory in that regard.
And she was a murderer. She was the worst of them all. She was a political assassin. She was like SAS. She was a paid killer. Not a, you know, a lot of the others were just downright bad people who were murderers, but she was a paid murderer. You know, that's what she did for a living. She was an assassin. And people forget that. They just think, oh, she was so nice and so sweet and so maternal and such a lovely priest and such a healer. But she was a badass, really. And it was disappointing in some ways that they didn't refer back to that more. And they concentrated on, I suppose, what people really loved about her. But how amazing would it have been if you saw a little bit more of the dark side of Zan?
Oh, yeah.
Where I knew that she would be adoring someone and wanting to heal them and save them, but she could very easily just turn around and kill them just like that, without a second's thought. And and that was her inner. This way, you know, actors always. You're always thinking about your backstory and who you are and what motivates you in a scene and things like that. And so it was on my mind a lot, the struggle to be good, when I was absolutely to my core. Not really to my core evil, because the sort of work that she did was political assassinations. Not that murder's any better for political reasons than non-political reasons, but she was trying to help her people, the Delvians, and they were being controlled by the evil, the dark side, the peacekeepers, and so she was trying to eradicate the dark.
It's kind of ends justifying the means.
Yeah. So she wasn't a lust killer, you know. It was for political means. Yeah, but she was quite amazing. And to answer the other parts of the question, when you're working was talking about this today. When you're working as an actor, it's incredibly hard work. It's very there's no time to really muck around. I think that from the average any actor who has worked on mainstream work, like proper main cast characters and support roles and things like that, will immediately know what it's like to work on a set. If you do amateur theatre, or if you're sitting at home watching the TV, all you see, if you think about it, all you see is the show itself, which hopefully is always enjoyable, entertaining, thrilling, enthralling, whatever it is that entertains you, however it entertains you. And you also see the publicity sections where you'll see the cast with the director, with the producers on the press mill, where they're talking to press, they're touring around in various countries, they're talking at conventions, in panels, and they're relaxed, they've let their hair down, if you know what I mean, figuratively, and, or in my case, literally, and they're having a bit of a laugh and a joke, and it's fun. So the general public see all of the actors having fun on the media circuit, and they see the actual show once it's completed, which is thrilling. But they don't actually see the process of shooting, and it's always the same for any main cast actor. It might be different for the extras because they've got a lot of time to kill in between scenes, so they can probably mess around a little bit, have some fun away from the set. But on the set, it's a very serious place. And I liken it to, it's kind of like you've got a foreman at a building site. In that, the foreman at a building site saying, come on guys, we're going to lose the light in 2 hours. We've got to get these walls fixed, or we've got to get the plumbing done, because tomorrow we're going to bring in the whatever it is, the roofers and the blah, blah, blah. The windows have got to go in, so we need to finish the walls. And you've got a foreman who's constantly, every day, chasing you to hurry up, go to makeup. We need you. They need you on the set right now. You've got 3 minutes to finish. Come on, makeup. Finish the touch-ups. On the face. Get them. You've got to go to the wardrobe. You've got to go. There's a car waiting for you to take you to location. So you've got this guy who's the foreman, who's telling everybody what to do, just like on a building site. And the time is just as crucial. Whereas in a film, it's a little bit more relaxed because you do the equivalent of Farscape over a year.
Yeah.
But we do, or a little bit more, whereas we do Farscape in 4 days. And the fifth day is to catch up on what we missed out last week and the week before. So it's really 4 days as opposed to a year. Now you see big Hollywood movies and you see the off-takes, the goof reels and things like that, where everyone's having tons and tons of fun and they're relaxing and they're goofing around on set and stuff like that. When you're doing an hour's work or an hour and a half's work over a year, it's a lot more time for that. When you're doing an hour's work in 4 days, I'm telling you, it's breakneck speed. So what you see with all of the fun that's going on at panels in conventions, that's real, and that's such fun. We can really relax and really enjoy each other's company. It's just great times, and at your signing table you can have such laughs and such fun, and on the press circuits it's wonderful. But when you're actually working, it's really stressful, high-paced, fast, focused. Occasionally, if someone blows a line, of course we all laugh at them, as you do. Or someone might fall down on their face and hurt themselves, and you laugh hilariously. You silly bastard, So, as you do, you laugh at your friends when they hurt themselves. It's a terrible thing.
Just
terrible
trying to imagine
culture.
Zan doing that now.
Oh, we all do, yes. Everyone laughs at everyone when they hurt themselves and fall over and do dumb things and miss their lines and stuff like that. But you've got the foreman there, don't forget, who's the first assistant director, who always says, come on guys, stop mucking around, let's get back to it. So you've always got that person. Without the first assistant director, it would be mayhem.
Yeah.
It would just slow down and it'd be mayhem. People would be giggling, and we're all like kids really, but very professional, highly skilled kids. Everybody, and you have have a duty of very difficult work to do every day. And someone said to me, one of the questions I get asked every time I do an appearance, number one question is, how much fun was it shooting Farscape? And I always, I have to be logical, and I have to honor and respect that person as an intelligent being and give them an intelligent answer.
Yeah.
I can't insult someone by saying, oh yeah, it was tons of fun, because that's insulting, because it's not, it's not accurate. And most people, when they ask, they really genuinely don't know. So I try and give them a good look at what it's really like. And I explain to them that we love what we do, otherwise we wouldn't do it. But it's difficult. It's like an artist, the chap next to me is an artist. There's many artists here today, many comic artists. Their backs hurt, their hands hurt, they get cramps, they don't sleep when they're on deadline. It's really hard. But at the end of the day, it's beautiful. What they do is amazing.
Yeah.
Same for anyone. I was talking to a young man today who makes costumes, cosplay costumes. And he said the same thing. He aches, his hands hurt, his fingers bleed. It's really, 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 really hard and really stressful for him. But he does it because the end product is so satisfying, and to work really hard is really satisfying. And that part about it is such a joy. Did I talk too much?
No, that's absolutely perfect.
Did it make sense?
Yes, yes, plenty. So I just want to ask you one more question, and then we'll let you get on with your day.
Oh, thanks.
So I have to bring up Mad Max 2. So obviously the latest Mad Max has just done a pretty good job at the Oscars. Your character came to a bit of a sticky end, didn't she?
Uh-huh.
How was that to film?
Well, which part?
So
the dying?
The death scene, because it was a pretty
it
horrible
sort of
one.
Went over a few different scenes, but right at the end, being run over, that wasn't me. Obviously, that was a mannequin. And for some of it was me hanging upside down on the side of the truck, but other parts of it was a stunt double, and other parts was the mannequin. So when you say how was it, in that last scene, it was chopped into so many different parts.
Yeah.
But
Does it feel a bit heartbreaking when you read through the script and you
No,
realise...
because already, it's not a surprise. I mean, it would be if you were doing a series, for example, and you thought that you were in it for the long run, and not Zan, it was my choice to leave because it was just so exhausting, and the makeup was making me quite ill. But let's say, for example, that everything was hunky-dory, you weren't getting sick or anything, and you were in it for the long haul, and you're happy to be there for years. Suddenly you read after a year, oh my God, I'm going to die next week. That's it, I'm leaving the series. Oh my God, that's awful. That would be horrible. But in this instance, it was a film, and so we all got the script. So even before you get cast for the role that character's going to die. So already.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's like that's in the storyline, so
yeah.
So so you're prepared for that. I mean, I knew she was going to die, and it's not like a series. No one knew that it would go on,
yeah.
But the only part that I thought was kind of extraordinary was Vernon Wells, the chief baddie. When he shot my character he was riding on the side on a motorbike, and he had his orphaned friend behind him, and he shot this like an air, I don't know what you call it, like an air rifle, an air cannon.
Is it like a harpoon or something?
So, yeah, it's sort of like a harpoon, but it shot multiple metal arrows with an air compressor sort of a thing all at once.
Yeah.
So he shot me with, I think it was like 5 arrows, metal arrows, which should really have gone through me and through 5 other people. But Warrior Woman was so tough, she stopped the 5 arrows, and they just stuck there in my... So they should have really gone through, but they didn't.
Well, you potentially saved 5 people.
There you go. Yeah. So that was sort of funny. And I thought that I didn't know, I had never acted. Well, I'd done a lot of television commercials before I did Mad Max. And Mad Max was my first real acting job. And I didn't at the time understand that it was the same. Acting in a television commercial with dialogue is the same as acting in a TV a job or film job with dialogue, except that in TV and film, the process of characterization is a lot different, really. But it's very similar. Overall, it's very similar. But I didn't understand that, and I was terrified of acting. And I wasn't quite sure what I was going to do with the Mad Max role. Once I got it, I thought, oh my God, I don't know what I'm doing here. I don't know how to act. And so that was pretty scary in the beginning. But you just roll with it, I guess. But George Miller was great, and he really helped me a great deal, and all the other cast members and so forth. But it was pretty cool.
Well, it's been absolutely lovely talking to
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you for giving us your time.
You didn't. I talked more than you did.
No, that's absolutely
all right?
perfect. They're used to seeing me talk.
All right. And get drunk, I believe.
Only on
And
the
shameless.
podcast. Only on the podcast.
Only on the podcast. Oh.
Yeah, no, I'm very professional on camera.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Keep it nerdy.